Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, and coming at you with another Master Duel video. This time we have a deck that I found over on Untapped. I like to, every now and then, just go through and sort by decks by win rate, usually by Diamond and Master ranking, and just to see what comes up. And the top deck, when sorting by those metrics, with a criteria of at least 40 games, yielded this Rescue Ace list with a win rate of, I believe it was 79.4%, so just about 80%. 40 some games in Diamond and Master, 80% win rate. That is not bad at all. And when looking at it, it's a pretty stock standard Rescue Ace list. This is a deck that I haven't covered in quite some time, so I figured it was as good excuse as any to come back and check it out. I gotta be honest, one of the reasons that I don't come back to this deck super often is the last couple of times I've posted about it, and I don't usually try to let this be a main influencer of whether I play a deck or not, but video just didn't get that many views. So I kind of get it though, because another one of the main reasons why I haven't come back to Rescue Ace, and I think one of the main reasons why a lot of people kind of don't pay as much mind to this deck is that it's still just kind of doing the same thing it did when, you know, the follow-up support came out for it, right? The stuff like Emergency and the Preventer, which is, you know, setting up the Turbulence set 4, ideally usually with the Preventer for another form of interaction, and turning something face down. And I get it. It does get a little bit bland after a while, but that doesn't mean it's any less effective. So this is something that I talk about a lot in my videos, and it's something that I don't see a lot of other people acknowledge when they talk about the game. The fact that there are decks out there that, while they're not really being played that much, that doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that people aren't playing them. And you would think, well, that doesn't make any sense. If a deck is good, surely people would be playing it a lot. And that's not always the case, especially in Master Duel. And especially on Ranked Ladder, where you aren't really punished that much for losing. I mean, yeah, you rank down, but think about playing on Ranked Ladder as opposed to playing in a tournament, right? Losing in a tournament is huge. Like, you can really only take one loss in Swiss in most tournaments and still comfortably know that you'll be able to top for sure, right? But on Ranked Ladder, you're allowed to have a lot more flexibility in that regard. As long as your win rate is above 50%, and even in some cases you can have a below 50% win rate and still rank up, right? If you are, like, at, you know, let's say you're at Diamond 5 and you lose a lot, but then you manage to rank up into, you know, through Diamond into Master, that's like one example of how that could be possible. But anyway, all that to say that just because you don't see a deck around a lot, like just because you don't run into Rescue Ace a lot, doesn't mean it's not viable or it's not good enough in the current format. It really just comes down to the fact that not that many people are playing it. And I guess to finish my thought, because you don't lose, or because losing doesn't matter as much on ladder, you don't have to always play the most optimized or best decks, and you can have a lot more flexibility in trying out something new and or lower power level, right? So that's another reason why the Rescue Ace list, I think, or lists playing Rescue Ace in general, just tend to get overlooked a little bit. So yeah, like I said here, this is a pretty standard Rescue Ace deck. We are on over 40 cards. I think going over 40 for just about any Rescue Ace list is recommended, because we have cards, of course, that we don't want to open, namely stuff like Extinguish, Contain, Alert, Rescue, that kind of a thing that we would normally set with the Turbulence. Although, to be fair, normally you would set the Rescue and Emergency alongside the two trap cards. I think Alert you don't set quite as often off the Turbulence, but that can also just kind of depend on how you open as well. Yeah, the funny thing is, this is like the only deck that played Poplar where the limit of it didn't really end up mattering that much, because a lot of Rescue Ace builds just played one anyway. Really, you're just looking to use Poplar to set up the whereas the original Sinful Spoils, that'll let you special summon the Hydrant, and Also, ideally, you're going to be special summoning the Poplar after adding it off of Bonfire. That way you can retain your normal summon and then use that on the Rescue Ace Airlifter. But you do still have a fair amount of options in that regard, so... there's also some comboing that you can do with Rescue Ace Preventer for board building, right? You can banish a Rescue Ace card from your graveyard to special it, of course, but then it's also got this third effect that says if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Rescue Ace monsters, except a level 8 monster, and special summon it. So you can special summon Preventer by banishing from your yard, link off Preventer to make something, bring back the monster that you banished, and from there you could even go into like a Promethean Princess and bring something back. You could have SP plus something else set up. There's a lot of options you could potentially do there. So another thing to think about. I think we'll have a game in particular where I do that kind of comboing. But speaking of that, why don't we just go ahead and break down this list card by card, and then we'll get into the games that I've got saved here. We are on 2 Rescue Ace Hydrant, 1 Snake Eyes Poplar, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Rescue Ace Impulse, 2 Rescue Ace Airlifter, 1 Rescue Ace Fire Engine, 3 Diabell Star the Black Witch, 2 Rescue Ace Preventer, 1 Rescue Ace Turbulence, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 2 Triple Tactics Talent, 2 Bonfire, 1 Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, 1 Rescue Ace HQ, 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Rescue, 1 Rescue, 1 Alert, 3 Emergency, 1 Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils. We have 3 Infinite Permanents, 1 Contain, and finally 1 Extinguish. And that's going to be it for our main deck. For the extra, we're on 1 Superstar Slayer Typhone Sky Crisis, 1 Link Rebo, 1 Relinquish Shanima, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, 1 Hita the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 2 SP Little Knight, 1 Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, 1 Axis Code Talker, 1 World Sea Dragon Zealantis, and finally 1 Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. There's our list. Let's check out these duels. Alright, for this first duel, I wanted to actually start by showing our opponent's deck list, because explaining it could not do it justice. Our opponent is playing Snake Eye, White Forest, Tear Lament, Branded, Horus, Pile. I mean, you could probably say that in a different order, but I mean, there's not really any one main engine here. It is very much a pile deck in the truest definition of the phrase. It's also going to be a going second game that we're going to be starting off with here. Because that's one thing you might think when you hear that Rescue Ace had like an 80% win rate. It's like, oh, they must have been lucky because Rescue Ace is like such a going first deck. But I feel like the deck can play very well going second, mostly because it has room for a lot of hand traps. Now, I just kind of took the list from Untapped card for card. I might make some changes to it, though. Maybe making room for some more and or different hand traps. Like Volcharmy Thualos, perhaps? Maybe. So, I didn't Ash Blossom either the King Sark Mills. Of course, we're going to wait for the Zombie Vampire. I see my opponent's on 60 cards. I definitely am going to assume that they're playing that card, and we'll save it for then. They're going to then go for their original Sinful Spoils, sending Zombie Vamp for Snake Eye Ash. Ash will, of course, add the Poplar, which will then activate to special. Now, at this point, my Nibiru is live, but what I was doing at this point is toggling off, because I don't want to use a Nibiru just yet, and I don't want my opponent to know I have a Nibiru just yet. Ideally, I'd like my opponent to, cycle through Flamberge first, and or make some amount of Link monsters. I'm going to save until my opponent is about to make something that can negate Nibiru, which for Snake Eye combo lines, they don't actually end on anything. However, here they're going for the Vert Anaconda, which could very easily summon out a Dragoon. I don't think they actually had Dragoon in their list. This would have sent Branded Fusion, but obviously didn't see my opponent's deck list while or before the game. So I see Vert Anaconda, I see 60 cards. I just assume it'll be a Dragoon. So I am going to nib here. Yeah, especially the nib. I'll actually put the token in attack mode because it's only got 2,000 attack. Their last card is Tear Grief. They're going to mill Tear Cash, and that'll let them mill a couple more cards. Scream and Wanted were the two cards that end up getting milled. They're going to search and set Soliak, And they do have the Perform Power Rainbow 5 Magician as pretty much their only form of interaction they ended up on. I noticed their extra deck had Albion Sanctifier, and I'm pretty sure this is what they used for it, but there could have been something else in the list I missed. But this, of course, having the pseudo floodgate effect, as long as I don't have any face down cards. Fortunately, I can set triple attack, and then, yeah, as soon as I activate Bonfire, my opponent's going to end up conceding. So, there we go. Nice little first game there. I think more than anything, that just came down to the timing of the Nibiru. I don't know, like I said, I just didn't want to end up in a situation where, like, if I had used the Nibiru on Snake Eye Ash and Poplar, right, then Poplar could have gone to the Spell Trap. I don't think, did they actually end up searching anything off the Poplar? I didn't see anything get searched there. Let's see. Special summon, send, link summon. No, they didn't. So the OSS that they activated must have been their only search target. Okay. So if I had Nibiru'd when they had Ash and Poplar and nothing else, I mean, I just didn't know what the last card in hand was. And, you know, for all I know, it could have been a way to go into something like Ver Anaconda and then Dragoon. So better to wait until I think they're about to play a negate and then try to nib before. But that also requires just general game knowledge and that kind of thing to execute that kind of timing, which is more practice than anything else. Anyway, that's it for the first game. Let's go ahead and check out the next one here. All right, how about a game against White Forest? Ooh, I should have clicked to see what variant it was. I just saw the 3 main cards that were in, you know, the thing there from our opponent were White Forest Synchros. So this is a hand where we're going first. We don't have anything besides Hydrant, which is definitely not ideal. But if you search Preventer, we can do a little of that comboing I was mentioning before, right? We can go into Link Karibo, and then I can activate Preventer from hand, banish Hydrant to special. Now I can link summon these two into a Link 2. I decided to go for SP Little Knight here, and then leave the Hydrant on the field. Although, I don't know, I'm thinking about it. It's kind of debatable, right? Whether it's better to go into Little Knight and use that as your interaction, or you could go for something like Hita, or just another Link 2 you're not going to use, like Sunlight Wolf, right? And then go into Promethean Princess, and then go into Raging Phoenix, right? There's arguments to be made about whether the Promethean Princess popping Raging Phoenix or Little Knight is better to end on. If I had some of the Rescue Ace trap cards or quick play spells here, then ending on Hydrant is very nice because you not only have the ability to activate them, but also Hydrant definitely matters as a name. Here I decided to just go with the Little Knight and pass. I also set a bluff triple attack as well. Alright, they're going to go for LZ. We're of course going to chain the Maxi. And they have an Ash Blossom for it, so looks like it's a fair game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm never even sad when my own Maxi gets negated. I'm like, darn, we're actually going to have to play this out. I mean, sometimes I do kind of think that unironically, but a lot of the time I do prefer to play the game out. So this is kind of weird. I don't really know what's in the rest of their hand. Maybe they just didn't have another spell or trap card, but sending the tails they reset without activating it to activate a Stellar they searched off LZ just seems a little bit weird to me. And it really opens it up to getting wrecked by Valor or Imperm, which I did end up having the Imperm. Like, if your opponent has 2 face downs, you should probably assume they have an Imperm. It's better to assume than not. They end up going for their own Little Knight. And I made a pretty bad mistake here. It's very easy to make. So you'll notice that I went to revive Link Karibo, but I didn't actually end up activating the Link Karibo effect. That's because I couldn't. Because I activated Link Karibo after SP Little Knight already declared an attack, and you can only use Link Karibo's first effect when the attack is declared. So I brought back Link Karibo too late. That is something that I learned while playing Snake Eye when it first came out in the Challenger Cups, and I really should have known, but I just wasn't playing optimally this game. Yeah, it happens, you know. Especially when you're on, like, grinding games on Ranked Ladder and watching, like, YouTube on the side while you do. It's like, I don't know. You just can't ask for perfection every single time. But we learn from our mistakes. even if we have to do it a couple of times. So they didn't go to negate Diabell Star, or not negate rather, but they didn't activate SP in response to Diabell. So I decided to just battle and get rid of the SP Little Knight to not have to deal with it. They had another Ash Blossom for the original Sinful Spoils here. But I do still have that triple tack face down. So here I'm going to draw 2. I don't think hand gripping the 1 card is worth it. It's a leftover card that they didn't combo off with earlier anyway. And the draw 2 is rewarded with Airlifter. That's the other reason I think draw 2 is worth it over hand grip there, is that I still had my normal summon. So there were a lot of things that I could top deck and make plays. Like, really, I could have top decked any monster, normal summoned it, linked into Promethean Princess, searched Hydrant, and then Hydrant search, I don't know if I would have had 2 Rescue Ace cards in my graveyard to summon Turbulence, but, I mean, we could have made plays, is what I'm getting at. Like, no matter what we top decked, pretty much. So, there we go. There's our second game. Still got one more that we're going to check out here before we finish off. Let's go into that last one here. Alright, so our final opponent is going to be on the Shining Sarcophagus deck, which actually just got support in the OCG recently. There's that new Dark Magician girl. So this is another kind of awkward hand, where I'm going to end up normal summoning Impulse with that extra normal summon with the HQ, use regular normal summon for Max C, link those into IP Masquerena. I don't know, I could have got into Little Knight, but here I end up going for the Preventer and then summoning Promethean Princess, because my Preventer would be live, right? Because Preventer F here summons Impulse, and then Promethean Princess would have summoned Preventer if I didn't get Nibiru. Which is a little bit unfortunate. But I can triple tack here. I decided to draw 2. So my reasoning for drawing 2 here was that, like, I could have hand ripped and tried to take their starter, but I also liked the idea of drawing hand traps. I don't know, I usually hand rip on turn 1, but I ended up drawing 2 here to try to get hand traps because I had no other cards in hand. Like, that's the thing. I didn't want to end up in a situation where I triple tack, reveal 2 1-card starters, and now I lose because I don't have anything besides this Nibiru token. So I ultimately decided it was better to hedge for hand traps, which got me an Ash Blossom here, but not a lot. There's arguments to be made either way. That's one of the things I really like about Triple Tactics talent. I think it gets you... Like, there are a lot of situations that you can end up in which require a lot of interesting decision-making. So here we're going to Ash Blossom the Shining Sarcophagus when it goes to try to add. But they have the Future Silence, which lets them get the Gandora G. And at this point, yeah, I'm pretty much out of stuff. There's not a lot else I can do. So I'm just going to go ahead and give them the W. I don't know, that might have been a bit of an early concede, but I also know the Gandora G is going to board wipe. And what else does it do again? Like, it board wipes and it summons the monster with level equals the number of cards destroyed by the effect. Yeah, I don't know. That was probably a bit early. I don't think they could have OTK'd me there, but at the same time, it would have been a hugely uphill battle being in complete top deck mode. So there you go. There's just my little bit of an outing with Rescue Ace there. Again, coming back to the deck after a while, after not having played it for a while, that is. And after learning that it does so well, apparently. I had a pretty good time playing it, and I can definitely recommend it as well. But thanks for checking out these games. Why don't we go ahead and move now to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested in you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free. And if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, but more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.